You were born in 1939.
It's a long time ago.
Yeah. What was life like growing up in Trinidad in the 40s?
It was a very, you know, we had sun and sea and you know, it was always, we always had people to play games with and, you know, very, very enjoyable childhood.
Peter, I believe, is known in Trinidad, but you're not especially popular there.
No, yeah. I played with Kenwyn Jones, who's from Trinidad, and yeah, he told me I was the most hated man in Trinidad. And I thought, you know, I thought I was a nice guy, really, but...
You are a nice guy.
Yeah, but we'll refer back to in the World Cup in 2006, we played Trinidad, and it was 0-0 until 75 minutes, and I scored a header. David Beckham cross, I headed it in. I thought nothing of it, but looking back at the pictures, I'd pulled this guy's dreadlocks.
There's the fact. Look at that. Have you seen that, Trevor? I don't know if you've seen that picture there.
Yeah, but I had no idea I did it. I was just jumping to try and get leverage, and then afterwards, everyone went, "Oh, it was a foul," and I was like, "What are you talking about?" And I didn't realise I'd actually pulled this guy's dreadlocks. But Brett Sancho's, he's the Minister for Sport now, I think, I believe, in Trinidad.
Yes.
And ever since that moment, Kenwyn said, "Don't go to Trinidad."
Well, I never went. You have an invitation from me.
Thank you. Royal pardon. Royal pardon.
You've been... It's like absolution there. But you were broadcasting in Trinidad before you made your way to England.
It's what I always wanted to do, and it was very strange, and I think in a way rather sad for my parents, because West Indians of my generation were supposed to be doctors or lawyers or engineers or very good accountants.
Did your parents live to see your success? Did they see you become a sir?
I think they knew I had not been an entire failure. My father, who was a very quiet man and never expressed too much emotion, whenever I went back to Trinidad, he would stand on the veranda and say to his friends, you know, anybody passing in the street, you know, he said, Trevor is back from London, you know, he'd like to come and say hello to you, you know. Some of these people I've never met, I didn't know that. But my father still... And I remember my father was very fond of his drink, and he would insist that I take him to the local rum shop. And we would walk in there, and he would look around and just, you know, survey the scene, and he'd say, my son's here from London and he'd like to buy you all a drink. Now, this was not... this was not my understanding when we left to go to the rum shop. It became what my father... And I think it was his way of demonstrating a kind of quiet paternal pride.
But he was still alive when you got your OBE, wasn't he?
Yes.
That must have meant quite a lot, I would have thought.
He was very proud about that. And I was... you know, I was always immensely proud of him and what he did for a family, because he took on a variety of jobs just to keep us all, you know, in shoes and school clothes and so on. And I always remember I was in Moscow when my father died, and I will always remember with great tenderness the Russian press officer who I had to deal with. He said to me, your father's died. He said, but don't rush off. Come in and talk to me about the life of your father. Oh. And with that, he poured me a large glass of vodka. Which, but I thought that was an immensely touching moment. And what a nice thing to do for somebody who I knew only in an official capacity. So that I thought maybe we gave my father a very good send-off, and he would have been astonished and bemused about his name being mentioned in a corridor in the Kremlin somewhere, a place he probably never even knew existed, or if he did, very little.